This is going to be a very quick and like a very quick tutorial on how to use InterLang. It's very simple if you're a developer. It's going to be very easy to follow, right? So we'll just go to interlang.app. The link is there, okay? And this is InterLang. Well, for you to use InterLang, I expect you should have created an account. It's very easy to create. Just click on create an account, right? I already have an account, so I'm not going to create another one. I'll just go to sign in, put in my email and my password, right? And just sign in. Okay, so I'm signed in. And now we'll just follow the documentation guide to implement this, right? So let's go to the documentation. Okay, and this is it. And let's go to the installation part, right? So if you're like me, JavaScript developer with Node.js and JavaScript configuration, you can just write on your terminal npx create interlang app, right? And it should generate a whole project for you, a whole built-in project. So currently I generated this one using that command. If you're used to npx create react app, it's just like that. You just go to the folder you want to create it and just run the command. So I generated this entire structure from the command, right? But if you have an existing project that you just want to integrate interlang into, like an existing node project, you can just use this and install the interlang app SDK into the project. Okay, well, if you are not a Node.js person and you're using any other framework with to build your web app or your website, you can just put this inside your HTML file, just link to the JavaScript resource. Okay, and you should be good to go. All right, once again, if you create an account and go to the documentation, all this guide is there, so you can just follow it, right? So like I said, I've already generated the what I'm working with using this command. All right, so I generated this project. I think this is a TypeScript Next.js project. All right, so you're going to see the instructions when you run this command on your terminal. All right, so I'm going to open my terminal and I'm going to show you how it works first before going into any other thing. So I'm going to run npm run dev. Okay, and we should see it running on our browser. Let me show you how it works. Okay, my system is a little bit slow, so yeah, right. So this is the demo project you have for, if you use that command, you're going to have a demo project like this, which obviously you're changing. You're not going to be working with this, but this is just there to show you how interlang works. It's already pre-set up if you use that command, right? So now with this demo project, you can just select a language. For instance, I'm going to select French. Okay, now there's something important I want you to observe. If I click on this, you can see this changes. This is a dynamic content. Okay, if you go through the documentation, you'll see there are three kinds of contents that interlang works with: the static content, which are things like this that don't change; the dynamic content, things like this that change; and the user generated content. The user generated content is something that we're going to roll in very soon. It's not yet live, but the solution is already there, but it's not yet live because of limited resources. All right, so you can, this is dynamic content. It changes when I click on it, and interlang monitors this change, and so even when it's translated, this thing would still change with the language that it was translated to. Okay, so I've pre-selected French. Now let's work with French. I have to just click on change language. Okay, and we have a pop-up. You can put anything there. You can create a loading animation, whatever you want to do for the document to translate. Click on OK, and we just have to wait a little while, not too long. In a matter of seconds, it's done. So I'm going to click on OK, and voila, the entire document is translated to the French language. The entire document. And watch this. When I click on this, you can see it changes along with whatever was changed. Okay, so this is the power of InterLang. Right, your users can just select any of these languages, and we're working on adding more languages. Currently it's a little bit over 100 languages, but more language support will be added. Okay, now your question might be, why didn't this change? That's because you can tell InterLang to ignore certain elements, and it's done in the code. I told InterLang to ignore this element, and so even though every other thing changed, this element was entirely ignored. That's the beauty of InterLang. Okay, so this video is actually getting too long. So that's the brief demo of InterLang. Now let me show you how the source code, how you integrate InterLang. Okay, so in components, language change, right? Okay, so this here is the function that does everything. Just a simple function. We're just calling, as you can see, I'm calling this function and this button click change language, handle language translate, which is this. So this is a function that is running. This is just a simple function that the SDK provides that changes everything. You just have to provide your API key. Currently now I'm using a test API key, and I'm going to show you the key because you won't be able to use it. It's linked to my account, so you also be linked to your account. So this is the test API key. You can use this test API key as much as you want. You're not charged for it, so you can keep on using it to train yourself more on InterLang, right? So this is it, and that's what I'm using here to send a request to the InterLang application, right? And the target language is selected, right? So on processing, that's when you write whatever code you want to write when the language is being translated. On translated, when it's done, whatever you want to run. That's it. Pretty simple. Okay, and here now, to make InterLang ignore certain elements, all you just have to do is add this class name to the elements list of class names, and the element is going to be entirely ignored. Those are things you can read up on the documentation. You don't really have to implement most of these things. All you just have to even do to make InterLang work is just to call this function. If you want to go deep into how you can, make InterLang work perfectly and suitable to your software, there are so many things in the documentation you can look into, right? So here we're specifying a dynamic content. Okay, most of these things you're going to see it in the documentation, but feel free to ask me questions. I'm always there to answer, and that's why the Discord was created. All right, I'm always there to answer your questions. So like I said, once again, this is just the function. This function is imported from the InterLang app SDK client. That's where this function create document translate is imported from, right? From that SDK, we also have this language object which contains all the languages that InterLang supports, right? So even if you're using InterLang in the browser with this script tag, all you just have to do is call the function. After you've imported this script tag, just call the function and InterLang will still work for you, right? So like I said, feel free to ask me any more questions on InterLang. That's InterLang in a nutshell.